Jay Glazer joining us in studio. And what I like about Jay is he doesn't do a
What do you
mock
like
draft.
about Jay?
I like Jay because he doesn't do a mock draft. Is that a reason to like you, Jay?
No, there's a lot of reasons not to like me.
I
We all know
realize that.
Yeah, line up, guys, right?
Why don't you do a mock
I don't
draft?
do a mock draft because I don't like to lie to the fans. And basically, when teams tell me, my guys don't snow me. I have years of relationships with guys, and they don't snow me. But they're basically saying, okay, we're going to tell you who we're going to go with, but you can't use it. So if a guy is telling me what he's going to do at 12 or 13 or 14 or 1 or anything, I can't then say, okay, well, I can't use it, so let me put somebody else down for the fans because I'm not going to lie to the fans. It's an interesting kind of catch-22 to be caught in.
Do teams,
so I just stopped doing them years ago. I'm not going to lie to the fans.
Do teams lie to the media?
Oh, absolutely.
Just to get false information?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny because one team called me the other night and said, hey, listen, we need you to do us a favor. We need you to put out that we're doing this to help us out. And I said, yeah, I don't do that. I'm not a smokescreen kind of guy. I said, you guys know me long enough. I'm not going to jump into that. Now, I do help a lot of these teams where they'll call me up and go, hey, listen, we want to move up to this team. Can we move up there? And who do they like? And can we convince them they can get them in our spot? Or if we move to this spot, is somebody else going to want to jump us? So it's an interesting dichotomy of how you got to broker information because you don't ever want to screw anybody over. You want to make sure you give the information out first. And you also, the last thing you want to do is ever get in the way of somebody else's plans. But they, you know what? When you do help someone, then they feel kind of beholden to you.
But you're brokering, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. If you broker the information, then you get the information.
But that's an odd position to be in.
Yeah, it is, no doubt about it. But that's what you do as information guys, all of us. People kind of call us for different pieces of information, and you use it at the right time. So if you listened to me yesterday on Fox Sports Radio, okay, I'm not one of these guys who are going to tip the pick a minute beforehand. I'm not going to do that. But I'll tell you an hour beforehand what I, quote unquote, think is going to happen, or what I think they should do, with the knowledge of that's what they're going to do, and try and get the better information to the fans.
Geno Smith falls out of the first round. Manti Te'o falls out of the first round.
Yeah.
Surprise?
No, not by neither one of them.
Why did they?
Teams didn't have great grades on them. And they were so all over the board on Geno Smith, so all over the board. Some teams had him in the top 10. Look, Jacksonville, they're picking coming up here. He'll be in the discussion there. Defense will be in the discussion there. But there was nobody who looked at him and said, oh, my God, that's the top guy on our board. Had a couple of teams who had him in top 10, but there were some teams who had him as a top 10 player. Other teams said he's the 5th best quarterback on our board. You know, they were so all over the board on everybody in this draft. I had one team who told me D. Milliner is the number 1 rated guy on our entire draft board. And another team told me he's the 3rd rated corner on our board. So this was the strangest draft I've ever been a part of because there was nobody to be in love with. There was no prettiest girl at the prom by far.
Jacksonville's on the clock. Mm-hmm. They going quarterback?
I think they're going to try. They're fielding calls to trade.
Okay.
Okay, that's what they're going to do right now. They're going to try and trade out of the pick. And right now, they're hoping that somebody. What happens is, and I've been in draft rooms overnight with a team, and what happens is that night, it's incredible that you think they do all this work on these guys leading up, but all of a sudden there'll be 2 or 3 guys sitting there who you say, oh, wait a minute, we kind of had a mark on this guy, but man, he's sitting there. He's the 15th rated player on our draft board. And they will get back on the phone with the kid, with the kid's parents, with the kid's guidance counselor, with the kid's priest, with the kid's girlfriend, with the kid's girlfriend's priest, with the kid's girlfriend's guidance counselor. It's unbelievable how much extra work they do that night going into it. So all of a sudden you convince yourself to fall in love with somebody. And that's what I think Jacksonville is hoping to do. Because there's a lot of value now in this draft. This is where there's a ton of value right now in this second round.
Well, I thought that the second round was going to be more interesting than the first round.
Why is that? Because you had bigger names?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not kid anybody.
Yeah, so Lacy, Manti, Geno.
This is a reality show.
Yep.
This is
absolutely.
The NFL's made it a reality show. How big of an issue is pot, is weed?
Well, you know what's so funny? You know, we train about 30 of these guys in our facility out in L.A., Athletic Gains. And all these guys, we got 30 kids in there. I tell them all the time. I talk to them going into the combine. So we have combine training for these kids. I say, listen, the most important thing I could tell you guys, they test you for weed at the combine. I am telling you, they test you for weed. If you still test positive, you are the dumbest bastard on the planet. And I will tell every team, Then I've already had this conversation with you. And sure enough, people get popped all the time. You had 4 kids popped this year again. Nobody who's really of note, a big name, but how stupid can you be? You know they're testing you.
But
so
do
you
teams care?
You shouldn't get knocked down for smoking weed. You should get knocked down the draft board for being an idiot at that point. It's just this stupidity test.
But Honey Badger testing positive, losing track of how many times reportedly. Is that how much of an issue is that now as we get into the second or third or fourth round?
I'm surprised teams have him as highly rated as they do. I've had a bunch of teams tell me they like him in the 2. They think his return ability, they think he'll be great as a nickelback. So he's not even a guy they look at as a full-time player, nickelback, situational guy, return guy. But there are teams. Cincinnati will look at him. Other teams like him in the 2.
Oh, Cincinnati can't do that.
That's what they do. That's what they do. But here, so Honey Badger, last week I had 2 teams they called. They said, this dude was supposed to come out here and meet with us, and he fell off the grid. I mean, this guy, of all people, fell off the grid, can't get in touch with him. His agent, I talked to him, he said, look, he's sick, he's really sick. He got run into the ground. It was all the interviews. Well, you know what? So is every other kid. But when you're Honey Badger, you got to kind of go above and beyond to, you already have 1 million strikes against you. So
So he no-showed.
He no-showed on 2 places, Houston and Seattle. No-showed. No-showed and fell off the grid, but he was very sick. And, again, the agent said, look, he was really legitimately sick. But when you're Honey Badger, you don't have the same leeway as everybody else.
Any other?
I can see you hanging with the Honey Badger.
Oh, really?
I can see you guys hanging.
Yeah.
That should be one of the things should be up there.
On
that
the
should
wheel
be
of
it.
punishment?
Right, yeah. A day at Wendy's with the Honey Badger. You guys.
Seton might enjoy that, though.
That's right. Yeah. That's not punishment.
Jay Glazer joining us here in our New York City man cave, who's got round 2 of the NFL draft. I also find it, when
the other place you gave me beer,
Wait, I don't have beer on tap here.
Well,
I don't have beer on tap.
But how do you move?
I got some bacon over there.
I'm a Jew.
Okay. It's kosher bacon.
Kosher bacon?
It's kosher bacon. Yeah.
If you know what? Talk about a dream come true. If only somebody could do that.
Kosher bacon?
Man, and not turkey bacon.
When you talk to these guys, who is more honest with you, the coach or the GM?
It's all based on the relationship. You got relationships with all of them. My guys, they really are good. I trust them a lot. They don't snow me. They know me after all these years to do right by them also, to not. I mean, again,
but why would they tell you
millions
something?
And millions and millions of dollars they're putting into scouting, and they trust you not to let it out because it's interesting. They look for different opinions on different things. They look for, and a lot of guys, they'll call me and say, hey, we like this guy. What's the chance he'll be there? And I won't tell them that somebody else likes him in front of him, exactly where, but I'll say, no, not going to be there. And they'll say, really? You sure? I said, no. And they'll say, well, how much do we need to move up to get him? I can't tell you that either because then I'll tip somebody else's hat. But you probably don't have enough to get up or something along those lines.
What do you think of these mock drafts, the analysts, the insiders?
I don't want to rip on everybody else's work, but they're I mean, look, you look at mock drafts, and that's why this is the reason why we all sit there and go, oh my gosh, how did this guy? He was 4 in everybody else's mock. Well, no, he was 4 in our mocks, but not the GM's mocks. You ask any other team, they go, we had this guy at 22. So no, there's some of them are real good. The guys, look, it's not like I'm the only one working hard out there for this stuff. All the insiders, they all have relationships. They all bust their butts. They all get great information. And they probably do a lot of what I do. Probably a lot of them say, well, I can't screw this guy over, so I can't really say in a mock, but I'll help out behind the scenes.
It's an inexact science that drives me crazy, that we spend all this time, all this money, all this effort, and you still have guys who make mistakes in the top 10, top 15.
It's unbelievable.
And I liken them to a stockbroker. A stockbroker would be out of business if he did this to his clients. You have these guys who are doing this who can't assess if this guy's going to be. Buffalo is all in on E.J. Manuel.
Right.
If he turns out he's a bust, I mean, imagine
sets your organization back 5 years here.
Yes, because you've traded. There was a trade involved, and you think he's going to go in and start.
It's easier now to go after these guys and gamble because of the new CBA. It's easier because you're not giving a kid $50 million guaranteed. Yeah. It's easier to go after. Let me tell you right now, if the old rules were in place right now, okay, teams would have been begging to get out of the top 10 because they just don't look at these guys. I have one team who said we got 5 guys who we think is a bona fide top 15 talent, maybe. It's just not there.
Somebody
No,
buzzing
don't
you
worry
there?
about it. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Mind your business.
You're supposed to
Go
be a
about your
professional.
business.
Let me see who.
Nothing to see
let
here.
me just see you
Nothing
just
to see
text.
here, folks.
Who just,
Go about your business.
who
Show's
just
over.
buzzed
Go
you
about your
there?
business.
Let me see what you got there, Jay. You want to break a story here? What do you got? You want to do something?
Well, keep going.
All right. We'll
going.
continue with Jay Glazer. See what's on his phone. By the way, professionals turn off their phones when they're on show.
No, but this is me. No
You're
one
not
said
a
I was professional.
I know,
Exactly.
You're right. You're right. We'll continue with Jay Glazer. We're spinning the wheel of punishment, and one of the pizza slices is get in the octagon with Jay Glazer. So, Seton, you prepared to do that?
Am I prepared to do that?
Yes,
No.
if you have to.
Am I willing to do that? Of course.
Maybe we could do a
And
little
you cannot
demo.
take a Viagra beforehand. I'm not going to stand for that. Okay? Cannot happen. Not going to stand for that. We don't play like that, you and I. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's not what this is
Not at all.
suggesting, right?
Maybe
Okay?
we could,
Not at all.
Maybe we could do a little demonstration during the commercial break.
How about beforehand? You guys were talking about at the end of the first round about he and I going in the end of the first round.
Yeah.
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 Why would you possibly think you'd go to the end of the first
Could
round?
you beat up all four of the Danettes
Yes,
in the octagon?
look at those
at
guys.
once?
Same time.
They're like these. They're socially awkward. All
I know
of them.
that. I know that.
Fritzy used to be yacked when he and I worked together at FAN. That dude was on everything in the world. Are you kidding me? He was beyond juiced. Are you serious?
whoa.
Forget Canseco. He was the Jose Canseco of producers. Man, that's
Fritzy.
why he lost his hair.
Bath Beach bodybuilding.
The
every day
boils
in
on his
Brooklyn.
back were terrible.
Fritzy.
We there's a lot of bicep curls, a lot of working out involved. back then.
Fritzy was jacked back
Have
then.
you ever used performance-enhancing drugs?
Absolutely.
I have not. I have not.
Oh, jeez.
My mom wouldn't let me do that. I come from a very neurotic.
Your
Jewish
mom
family.
wouldn't let you do it.
This is a-
Your mother drug test you?
This
She
is a
did not.
bombshell.
Yeah,
Fritzy, it's time for the urine
I
test.
had
Let's go.
Baby aspirin.
That's a bombshell there. Jay Glazer breaking news here on the program.
Jack LaLanne
Fritzy,
said that.
multiple sources here.
Multiple.
Fritzy performance-enhancing drugs back in the days.